Let's pretend for a moment that you've got $100 to spend on a new microphone. That is all you can spend and not a penny more except for taxes because Uncle Sam's got to get his. Okay, so there's a couple of big options out there. Traditionally speaking, at about the $100 price point, you're going to see things like the Rode PodMic, which is a phenomenal XLR dynamic microphone, or the Audio-Technica AT2020, which is Jesus Christ, everyone at some point has probably used an Audio-Technica AT2020 because that is like the go-to entry-level condenser XLR microphone. But I want to present to you a third option that I think you need to not sleep on because it is just as good as those other two microphones, and that is the MXL 990. This is the blackout edition. Let's talk about it. So for $100, what do you get when you purchase the MXL 990? Well, you're going to get a carrying case. You get the microphone itself, you get a shock mount, and if you don't want to use a shock mount, you also do get this mounting ring right here that you can use with your boom arm of choice. As far as build is concerned, the microphone is tiny. This thing is very, very small, and it's kind of a chunky boy too because it's not heavy at all, but where it lacks in size and length, Jesus Christ, are we still doing phrasing? It's got a lot of, I'm going to say it, it's got a lot of girth to it. Okay. All right, moving on. So besides the small form factor and my questionable choice of words that I've used to describe it now that I'm never going to be able to recover from, the actual microphone itself is an all metal build. We have an all metal mesh grill. It is very well built and very durable. I'm fairly certain that if you drop this microphone, the body of the microphone will not be damaged, but this is a condenser microphone, and condensers are very sensitive mics. They have feelings, okay? You got to treat them with respect and kindness. If you drop these things, chances are that you'll probably damage the components on the inside of the microphone, and that is what you don't want to happen. So don't drop it. Treat it with respect, and it will respect you. Now, the shock mount that comes included with the microphone package is a little cheap feeling. I think it's some parts plastic, some parts metal. We do have the bands that absorb the shock of any impacts around the microphone. And honestly, I'm not sure exactly how good it does at actually executing its purpose, but we're going to find out shortly. But aesthetically speaking, I'd rather use a shock mount than this thing because it looks a little bit more clean and a little bit more professional. Besides that, as far as build is concerned, there's really not a whole lot to discuss here. It's a solidly built microphone for $100. I don't think it falls short compared to any of its competitors. I think it hits the bar exactly where the other ones do as well. So let's talk about sound. I think this microphone sounds absolutely fantastic. However, I got to be honest with you. I'm going to be very transparent. What you're listening to right now is the MXL 990 running through my Elgato Wave XLR, which of course uses Wavelink, which of course I am using VST plugins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut them all off so you can hear what this microphone sounds like raw. All right, so what we're listening to at this moment is the MXL 990 raw. No VST plugins, no filters, nothing at all. This is the microphone plugged into the Elgato Wave XLR, coming into the computer with no post-processing whatsoever, and this is what it sounds like. Let's take a moment of silence and see how much noise this microphone can pick up with the gain set at 21 decibels of gain. And now for a test in plosives. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. 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 And for this test, we will now look at the MXL 990's ability to reject noise off-axis, aka the off-axis noise rejection test. I am currently speaking into the front of the microphone. I'm going to go ahead and turn the microphone this way so that now I'm speaking to one of the two sides of the microphone. But then technically this is a circular, cylindrically shaped microphone, so does it have any sides? Technically, one could say that we are now speaking to the rear of the microphone, which is the backside of the capsule, so you're going to be able to hear an audible difference here. And we're going to turn it now again into the other side of this microphone, and you're going to get a good idea of how well it does at handling noise rejection from the rear and the sides of the microphone. And just to kind of make things clear so that we're all on the same page, we're going to go ahead and turn it right back into the front, where I am now speaking directly into the front of the capsule. Now, before we wrap things up, let's go ahead and test out the shock mount and its ability to handle impact. I love my SM7B. It's my absolute favorite microphone that I own, and I own quite a few. And I'm not going to go into detail because I think it's pretty evident as to why the SM7B would be our number one go-to pick as far as, content creation and vocal work. But sometimes it's good to have a condenser microphone in your toolkit because condensers do a fantastic job of capturing accurately the details of a person's voice. A dynamic microphone such as the SM7B will often have that super broadcasty sound that a lot of us like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But every now and then I want to have some clarity in what I'm saying. I want it to sound a little bit more clearer. I want to really emphasize the intricacies of my voice. And this is one of the areas where the MXL 990 wins, if you will. When we did the test with no plugins at all for the sound of the microphone, I generally have a deeper voice compared to other people. I felt like the MXL 990 did a good job of accurately representing the depth of my voice. Where it fell short to me is sibilants and plosives, okay? And a lot of mics suffer from this, and the way you combat these two issues is often with technique and some equipment, and possibly even some sort of plugins that you can use as well, like a de-esser for plosives, for example. The plosives, the best thing I can tell you with that is just don't keep the microphone way too close to your mouth. I usually try to stay about a fist away from the capsule, and then also try to speak with the microphone aimed at you at an angle to kind of help combat some of this, because ultimately, if you have it directly in front of you, you're going to be speaking directly into the capsule, and you're also going to be blowing all of that air into the capsule, which results in plosives, along with sibilants as well when you're using your S's, your T's, and sometimes even your V's. The other area where this microphone absolutely impressed me in is its noise. And I think in the technical term here is its noise floor, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, please tell me. But when I finally shut up and just kind of let the microphone do its thing raw with no plugins, I was expecting to be able to hear my AC and my computer fans running. And I have my computer underneath my desk to help mitigate some of that. But in other mics in the past, I'm still able to hear the fans cranking. No plugins, no noise gate, no noise removal. This microphone didn't pick up a thing, which is massively impressive. Okay. And the reason I want to hone in on that is because as a new creator, as a new streamer, as a new YouTuber, you don't necessarily have the right environment to record in, right? And the beautiful thing about that is that you don't necessarily even have to have that anymore because of the existing software that is out there. But the fact that you can buy this microphone and not have to worry too much about your fans, your AC, and God knows what else, other noise going into the microphone and really ruining your audio for $100, I think is a fantastic selling point, if you will. Their microphone's ability to reject noise off axis, I think, is fantastic. It performed as I would have expected it to perform for a $100 microphone. I think obviously it captures everything clearly when you're speaking to the front, and it greatly diminishes how much it captures from the sides and from the rear. Obviously, this is a side address microphone, so you want to speak to the side of the microphone and not to the top right here, like some of you Blue Yeti users out there. But at the end of the day, overall, would I recommend the MXL 990 to anybody looking to get into the XLR world of microphones? And the answer is absolutely yes, I would. For $100, you get a great sounding microphone. You get a couple of different accessories that more often than not don't come included at this price point. You get a shock mount that did a fairly good job of handling impact. And if not, then you get a nice little different mounting ring in case you don't want to use a shock mount. The only thing missing from this package, which is kind of a greedy ask, would have been a windscreen or a pop filter to better mitigate some of the plosives and sibilants. But other than that, this microphone is fantastic at the price point and needs to be in a conversation with regards to entry-level $100 price point condenser microphones, such as the AT2020 and some of the AKG models out there, and God knows what else. There's a whole bunch of them. But if you got $100 and you're looking to buy an XLR microphone and you want to go with condensers, I highly recommend that you check out the MXL 990. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you found the video helpful, informative, educational. If you have anything that you want to ask, any comments, any questions, please leave in the comments below. Let me know what y'all think. And do you use this microphone? Do you plan on buying it now that you've heard it in action? As always, if you like the content, you found it helpful, like, subscribe. Y'all know the drill. Until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Peace out.